well, we were exposed to the wrong movies at a wrong age. Like because when we were coming up, that's when VHS was really catching on, and you had all these independent stores that were maybe a little bit more lax on the age restrictions. Like I remember when we were younger, it was like it was almost more a suggestion that kids shouldn't go to our movies, because I went to our movies all the time, and then suddenly, I'm not sure, maybe it was like when like Tipper Gore was in the White House, or something like that, when she was coming down on the labels of the violence or something like that, where they really started like carding people and stuff like that. Like I said before, I saw Poltergeist in the theater when I was 7, and that's a scary, crazy movie, given it was PG. Remember, that was like one of the ones that I think they were like, okay, we need to make something else in between here, and that stuff like sticks with you, and it's just yeah, we draw on that all the time.
And we're seeing a giant comeback of the horror genre. Why do you guys think it's becoming so popular again?
Well, I think the horror movie is a wonderful reflection for any audience to want to drag their worst day home and go to a horror movie and see someone fall a far worse fate than that could ever be. It is the roller coaster you can bring into your living room. It is the reason to clench onto a loved one's forearm so tight. We throw popcorn, and when we're done and the lights come up, we laugh, and we laugh it away. And that is a sense of release that the horror movie can give. It's like, all right, we all know that we could be intimidated by a few elements of life, and the horror movie cranks it up for just a bit, but then there's release, and there's relief. And you can go home and tuck in and have a good nightmare.
Yeah. They're fun, and people like to just be entertained, and it's just it's cyclical. Like every few years there's a bit of a resurgence, and we're in the middle of it, and hopefully it continues.
And you mentioned found films earlier. What effect do you think those horror found footage films are having on the horror genre? Do you think it's helping, hurting, a combination of both?
Well, I think it's what I like about it is that it's a bold new technique. And if you look at the history of horror, where there's a reason they have these almost cycles to them. Whereas the Universal monsters, it was all about the creature. It was all about then it was about the atomic age, the de-evolution of something, or the intensified size of something. And then it was the zombie, and then it was the slasher. And then it was the referential with the Scream series and whatnot. And then the supernatural came all the way back, where it hadn't been visited with much verve in quite some time, with The Ring and The Grudge and the J-horror influence. And then out of the blue, in 1999, right, wasn't it the Blair Witch that came back? And it was this interesting, documentary style that was so scary. And now, even it was film and video and whatnot, the found footage era just seems to be like, we're going to take that scary technique and we're going to apply it to the supernatural, we're going to apply it to the killer, we're going to apply it to action, and with the Bay, it's almost as if they're starting to apply it to the creature feature that Cloverfield had already even done to such a great degree. So I think that it's a wonderful technique, and I think it's a cycle that's in bloom right now, and it may have to dip again and come back with another fierce incarnation.
I like found footage. I think a lot of it is genuinely quite scary. I saw the first Paranormal well before it came out, and it was scary. Every night when they lock off the camera and it gets really quiet, something's gonna happen. It's kind of like a cheap gimmick, but it works really well, and I like it. So, but it'll wane, I'm sure, because people get tired of it. And you saw it a little bit with Paranormal 4. Like, it didn't open quite as big as the other ones, and it dropped off quite a bit the second weekend. And we saw the same thing when we were doing Saw. There was just fatigue after a while, because it's kind of the same thing. And so there'll be something else after it. I don't know what it is. If I knew what it is, then we'd be, rich men. But it'll be something very different will come along, and then that'll be the next big thing.
And you guys worked on the Saw movies that actually made Saw video games. Do you think the Collector series would make a good series of games?
Actually, I do, because it's a nice opponent, and the target is any of us, right? So to actually take the plot from this particular movie is fantastic. What if you broke into a killer's house? Terrific. Every floor is another level of his mind. Every room could be your doom. Who are you trying to save? Is it a loved one at the other end of this labyrinth? I think that could be a lot of fun. And along the way, you can improvise weapons out of traps you've undone or whatnot, or maybe it'll spring and you're done.
The big question though is whose perspective it would be from, because like, remember the Atari 2600 Texas Chainsaw Massacre game where you could be Leatherface and you would run around and try to kill people? Like that'd be kind of fun. The Piranha has a video game. It's on you know, like the iPhone and stuff. It's actually fun. You're the piranha, and you have to like eat, or your piranhas get tired, and then you have to eat, and you have to avoid the sheriffs and stuff like that. So yeah, that'd be fun.
Did you guys play any video games growing up?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, you know, I was just playing Halo 4 because I love that now, and I love the trash talking element that's kind of come back now. And the in terms of like, you know, vintage video games, name it, played them all. My favorite probably was Dragon's Lair because I like the story interstitials. Yeah, it was awesome.
It was hard though. Like,
oh, it sure was. Dirk
always,
the Daring.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we're talking about like video arcades, right? Like that was that. I mean, I love like Burger Time was always my favorite.
I'm kind of liking Patrick and I to Lucky and Wild. Okay. There's just two dudes driving a fast car, just blowing up shit.
Spy Hunter was awesome. I had a Nintendo, then I got Sega, and then I got the PlayStation and PS2. But I got into one since then. I think I might get the new Xbox. I've always been sort of like doing the PlayStation thing, but I might get an Xbox soon. Because I do love the like the Grand Theft Auto series. That's just too much fun, and it's so bad. Like I have it on my phone, and you know, my 6-year-old like plays it and doesn't quite get it. But he's like he doesn't play the game. He just likes to drive around and like punch people, and then get in the car and drive around, have the police chase him. It's like so bad, poor parenting.